What's up, everyone? It's your host Christina. Welcome to another video from Mind Over Mania. It's a pick group reading. Essentially how this is going to work is this is going to be a completely unplanned mystery reading. So essentially what you're going to do is you're just going to pick a sock and whatever's going to come out is going to come out. I don't know what to anticipate. It feels completely random, and I hope you enjoy it. It's just going to be a lot of fun. And for added bonus, to make things interesting, I'm going to be taking a shot for every single reading. So probably by the fourth one, I'm going to be filling my vodka a little bit. But without further ado, take a moment, see which sock resonates with you, and let's have some fun. See ya. Hello everyone, you have chosen group 1, which is the rainbow looking sock. And this is going to be a reading. I have absolutely no idea what this is going to be about, so I'm going to take my shot and then just see where it goes. So, cheers everyone. Whew. Alright, getting the ball rolling. So, for you guys, pile 1, okay, I don't know why, but I heard something about the sauce. I don't know what that means. It's almost like it's a weird combination between disassociated and exhausted, but I'm like, I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's about mental health or it's just the sauce. I don't know what that means. Alright, Spirit I'm just gonna pull some cards and see what the heck's going on. Alright, wow, starting the bat off strong. I have no idea what's going on, other than just whatever needs to come out is gonna come out. Yeah, this is just completely chaotic energy here, guys, so I apologize in advance if none of this makes sense, because it's not going to. Yes or no? I don't know, and for some reason this is the bottom deck energy. I heard the word sweetie pie, so I don't know if there has some type of maternal figure or whatnot. I don't know. We'll see what comes out. We'll keep that up there. Alright, let's pull some cards and see what messages we can get. Alright, so I feel like you guys are flip-floppy. Like something about either you're trying to make a decision or there's something about your energy that you flip-flop back and forth about a bunch of different things. And there's definitely a certain amount of chaos to you that doesn't really make sense. Or it makes sense to you, but it doesn't make sense to others. And so that's where you're kind of in the state of having a difficult time processing things and communicating it to others. That much, I feel like you struggle with communication a lot in group 1. And there's like this hardness to you. Like, I feel like either you feel things are hard, but I feel like it's more of like there's something about your personality where you feel like you have to always be tough all the time, or you kind of have a harsh black and white thinking, and you're like, well, if things are not going my way, then I cut it out. And I think what Spirit's trying to warn you or guide you to believing is that not everything behaves this way, and that you're a unique person, and while the world doesn't have to conform to you, you still got to be able to work in accordance with what reality is, and I feel like you're kind of resistant to that. And so that's why you flip-flop back and forth between these two different versions of yourself, where you're always going from one extreme to the next. And I keep seeing something like this. So, okay, so the cards you got here, we got moving on, victory and success, recognition and reward, and solitude. I feel like you're a solitary person, pile 1, or there's something about right now you may be in a solitary period where you're kind of doing some inner reflection, inner guidance. You're trying to reach out outside of you to gain some wisdom or knowledge, and you're kind of like looking to the stars. I feel like you might be either trying to explore mysticism or weird esoteric type things, or stuff that's very unnatural or uncommon to your typical spiritual person, and that feels natural to you, and that's completely acceptable. It's just that what's kind of happening is I'm feeling like there's like this pattern of seeking out something that is non-conforming for the sake of non-conforming, rather than seeking out what you deserve or what you need. And I feel like it's because you're trying to bow to something, either or to someone. I feel like it's either an ego, a power trip, or there's like a person in your past that you used to always be having to was always looking down on you, and you were always needing to bow to this person, and so because of that you are very resistant towards structures, and that has hindered you in some ways, especially financially, because I feel like you're kind of putting yourself in the spotlight and you're trying to show off for these other people, but you don't fundamentally fit in. And so by lack of being able to be accepted, you push to almost to an extreme at times. Which is kind of interesting because I just noticed like we got 6, 6, and then almost 6 again, but there's 3 and then 9, which I mean, if you subtract 3 from 9, it goes down to 6. So it's almost like you're almost trying to rebel or be resistant, but you've kind of got your own method to your own madness. And in some ways, you're successful about it. You know, like you're definitely someone who goes with the flow of chaos and chaotic energies. You're not afraid to be challenged, and you're not afraid to be weak either. And so I feel a very whimsical back and forth energy with you guys. However, you are moving on from something in the past, and there's something about needing to let go in order to move forward. I know that's really general, however, for the case of this reading, I feel like you don't really know what you need to move towards, or what you're trying to let go of just kind of keeps sticking to you, kind of like there's something stuck to your hand. And I don't know, I feel like it's kind of like I need to give up something in order to get something else somewhere else. Alright, let's see what else we got here. So we got the High Priestess in reverse, the Keeper of Swords. I think that's like 13. I don't know what that means. Okay, yeah, I was going to say, this deck is not traditional. So what I'm kind of getting from this is there's some kind of like illness. Or there's some kind of like medieval illness. I don't know. I'm getting some like old school medieval vibes between the artwork styles here and with the night work and whatnot. There's almost like a back in the day vibe. Like it's almost like maybe you kind of feel like you're trapped in time. I don't know why, but I feel like you're an old school person, or there's something about you that maybe you have a very old soul, or there's something about the way that it's this type of logic or thinking. Maybe it's like a black and white thinking, or it's kind of just like maybe your issues are from past lives issues or something. It's really hard to pinpoint because this energy is so like back and forth, and it's almost like you've got secrets that you don't want to reveal. With this High Priestess in reverse, I feel like you're resisting your intuition, and that there's something going on with your past. Again, this Keeper of Swords energy is I feel like you're really struggling to protect yourself, or you're very good at protecting yourself to a point where it hinders your relationships with others. Or there's something about keeping a tight grip or control on this chaotic energy. You feel like you have control of it, but secretly, I don't really feel like you always have control. It's almost like you're going with the flow, but I think you believe that you're in control with this chaos when really secretly you're not. And you've convinced other people thoroughly that you know how to dance with it, but it's not fully there. And so that's where I think you're kind of clearing stuff away. You're allowing your emotions to kind of supersede what you're supposed to be seeing. And that's a bit hard and tricky to navigate, especially with the dynamics that you're playing right now. Again, I feel like this is just old energy. And so maybe this has something to do with karmic stuff, well. But again, I feel like you have a very, like, black and white thinking in terms of, I'm seeing this devil, and I feel like there's, like, a lot of that heaven and hell trauma, or there's something going on with, you know, if I'm punished this way, then I deserve X, or whatever. And there's, like, this kind of glaring overhead deity or being that's always kind of watching you. And I feel like that's something you're going to need to start letting go of, because in order to connect with your higher self, this binary thought process is kind of not allowing you to understand the gray and the mysticism of life. You know, because there's a lot more layers to life than just this black and white thinking, and I think it hinders you. And it creates chaos for you, I think, whenever things do not play into this old narrative or this traditional structure that you've kind of been used to. And it could be maybe you're breaking free from old structured patterns. I don't know. But it's kind of like you keep flip-flopping from one extreme to the next. So I'm going to go ahead into these cards. So I have a deck that's called the Core Wounds deck, and essentially they're sentences that I've just written that are intended to evoke feelings or emotions that may trigger a wound on the inside. So just trigger warning in case you're sensitive to anything that's said. But I'm just going to read them off and see if I can pick up on anything. So, I'm capable of thinking and acting for myself, which I think that's something you struggle with. I think that's why your ties with religion, especially the old school patterns, is I think you're clinging to old school patterns because of the fact that you struggle thinking and acting for yourself. And then you deflect and push things onto other people when things do not go according to your logical standpoint. And so it's kind of a weird thing because you've got a lot of chaos and inner chaos, and I think it's because you're trying to control that by imposing another layer onto yourself. Very interesting. That just came out. The next card, I won't do unto others that which I won't accept towards myself. I think that's another thing you struggle with, is I think there's some duality here, is where like sometimes in your chaos, you're not always accepting of your own behavior and causing, things that may potentially harm other people. Again, some thought patterns are traditional and may not necessarily be in the best interest of everybody involved. And maybe those are things for you to evaluate where, just because a tradition says something doesn't necessarily mean that it's right, and it doesn't mean that anyone's bad or good. It's just something different, and something different doesn't necessarily mean either. It's just new. And that doesn't mean you have to necessarily behave or act in a certain way. Okay, so the next card, I do not need to be aggressive to feel safe. Yeah, so that's, I feel right here with this non-conformity. So regardless, I feel like with whatever this religious wound is, or maybe it's a conservative versus progressive type wound, whatever side you're on, I feel like there's a lot of aggression that comes out with you, especially when people challenge your belief systems, or if someone does not adhere to something specific that you want to see or believe. And, while it's understandable that, trauma can affect things and whatnot, your anger isn't necessarily warranted or justified, especially if you're using it to hurt someone else. Again, these aggressive feelings, like, again, you're allowed to be upset and angry, of course, especially if someone's doing something that's hurting someone else. But it's the perception of if you're actually hurting somebody or not that's causing you to get aggressive. And just because someone else is living their life differently than you does not mean that you have a right to control them. So just watch kind of your aggression in these areas and allow yourself to be in your own. Just because you can't control your own fit of chaos doesn't mean you have a right to control or make comments on others. I don't have to accept everything someone says as truth. I trust my own judgment. So that's another thing, is that when people are trying to tell you the truth, that is their version of the truth, and your version of the truth is your version. So you can try and talk to other people all you want about what you believe and whatnot, but if you're getting your truth not from yourself, but from what a book tells you, from what an authority figure tells you, from what somebody in a position of power tells you, then that's not necessarily your truth, and you deserve, to pursue God and pursue higher things that are not through the lens of a person that is actively gaining from controlling you, Like, I'm just a random tarot card reader, but I have no business or control over your life. If anything, I encourage you to think for yourself and to love yourself. And, if you don't like what I have to say, cool. That is completely fine, because that is your right as an independent person to create a judgment. However, what ends up happening is there's these times where if you're only listening to people because of something that you're taught and that you're afraid to question things, then you should pay attention to that. In a healthy, safe area, you should never be afraid to ask questions or to be your true, authentic self. Anything that deviates from that is wrong. And I feel like some of you might argue that, well, what if your true, authentic self is bad? And I'm like, people are not inherently bad. There's behaviors that society deems as bad. However, there's a lot more layers to that than just black and white thinking. And I think that's where you're trying to gain control of your own inner chaos. And so that's why you immediately default to this black and white and not looking at the gray areas. Alright, moving on to the next card. I want to stay the same right now. this is fine if it doesn't hurt myself or others? Are you resisting change because someone's attitude or opinion differs from your own? Or maybe, you're in a position where there's so much change going on right now and you're trying to hold on to something because that's what's holding you together. And that's completely okay. Being traditional is not a problem. And you're allowed to have, traditional faith and beliefs and whatnot. And if that's helping you get through the chaos in the modern world and what's going on right now, that's completely okay. Again, as long as it doesn't hurt yourself or others. So if it's preventing you from having a healthy life, or if you're choosing to actively or verbally hurt others because this tradition is what someone else told you that has a power complex, then it's obviously not appropriate. And, you don't have to conform to, modern political trends and things like that, assuming that it's not harming yourself or other people. You're allowed to make your own judgments and you're allowed to make your own decisions on how you want to practice your beliefs in spirituality, or maybe not spirituality, like lifestyle choices. Just don't crap on other people's lifestyles if it's not affecting you. Okay, so next card is, I don't trust my judgment. When I don't, I feel comfortable asking for help. All right, so I feel like there's a little bit of, again, we're seeing this capable of thinking and acting for myself and not trusting your own judgment. And I feel like, again, there's like this almost like, well, I don't know what to do in this situation, so I'm going to consult with a book, or I'm going to consult with an authority figure, or I'm going to consult my family, or one of those different things. And you're not taking the time to choose to act upon your own belief system, right? That's showing a lack of independence and a lack of thought. And, it's okay that you don't always have the answers, right? Because we're not, completely all-knowing and have all the answers to everything. And, and it's good to ask for help. It's just making sure that you're asking for help from people that are supportive of you and don't want to manipulate and control you. That doesn't gain from manipulating and controlling you. And you should be trusting your own judgment. If you don't trust your own judgment, then start working on your self-esteem so that way you can get to a point where you are thinking for yourself. You don't have to always conform to what everyone else does around you. A lot of leaders, are born through not fitting into conformational means. And a lot of leaders are non-conformists, and, that shows strength. And, but at the same time, all leaders ask for help sometimes. So finding a good balance between, working with what you have and what you do know and looking for outside guidance, having a good balance of that will make you healthier and also be able to pursue and understand the world in a more educated, balanced way. So that way you can kind of cut down on a bunch of this chaos that's going on, because I feel like some of this group, I feel, watches the news too much or chooses to actively ignore things that hurt them because they don't know how to manage their feelings. And that's okay, and that's where you ask, again, like if you have a priest or a spouse or a therapist or whoever you talk to help you with managing those feelings, that's okay, just make sure that you learn to feel comfortable asking for help and having conversations where you can be honest, and talk about your true feelings so you can learn and grow, and even if you decide that you, after watching this reading, you don't like tarot card readings, that's completely acceptable. And I'm not going to be mad either. I taught you that you don't like tarot card readings, or maybe you gained something else from this reading. I don't know who's all watching this. However, that's kind of what the purpose of the message is it's supposed to guide you to where you're supposed to go, and God's always going to follow you regardless of what that becomes. And that's it, Just make sure you're honest, at least with yourself, if you can't be with other people. That's really the goal of the message here. And the final card here says, I don't have to be mean to survive. I will if I have to be. So this is something that learning the difference between what is being mean and being nice. Okay, and being mean is obviously behavior that is good. We don't want people to be, saying nasty things to each other. And, obviously, this card is, pointing out that we all have the capability of being mean to each other. However, 9 out of 10 times, it's not necessary in situations. The only times where really you end up being mean and it's justified is usually if it's a survival situation. You can't always be nice. If someone's attacking you with a knife and you curse, like, that happens. That's being a natural human being, because you're in a state of distress. or you're being mean because you're just completely overwhelmed and overloaded. People make mistakes. However, in order to get your way with people, or if someone does something that makes you angry, being mean isn't gonna change the situation. If anything, it gets mud on your cloak, and making sure that, there's ways of getting behavior out of people that is done through more positive means, and making sure that you're also not being mean to yourself either. Don't be mean towards others and don't be mean towards yourself. You're not going to get the same reaction out of them, especially by judging them or being harsh with them. But, and I guess this final card, since I'm not really sure why this one popped out, but it's the Queen of Pentacles. And kind of looking at this card, this lady is clearly, it reminds me of a Thanksgiving dinner. She's being very nice and generous and warm and loving. And I think this is somebody that, maybe you should look up to or to try and embody, is this warm and loving person that is bringing all this food to the table and is being open and loving with everyone. And I think you'll have a better relationship with yourself and the world around you. I think this chaos is really you just coming to terms with a new world that's around you, a new way of thinking, and not being able to manage what you've got. And this is just a reminder that, you've got people that are looking out for you, whether it's God, whether it's family, whether it's religious figures, whatever. There are people that love you and care about you. And the people that love and care about you are going to support you, but they're also not going to lie to you either. They're going to hold you accountable because they want you to be better and closer to God's image. So, all right, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this reading. If it resonates, please comment. This is a completely spontaneous reading, so I don't know what the messages are going to be. But thank you very much for taking the time to watch, and have a blessed day. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye. Hello, everybody. You have chosen pile 2, which is this white sock with pink little patterns on it and whatnot. And this is going to be your reading. But first off, I'm going to take my half a shot, and we'll just keep on trucking here. Whew! All right. Yeah, okay, so something about you guys, group 2. You guys like to have fun. So I'm going to just pull some cards because I already feel like there's some messages for you guys here. Just kind of like reminders of you to watch how much fun you're having. This is going to be not necessarily to slow down. Well, I mean, yeah, maybe a little bit. But I feel like there's kind of like messages about substance abuse or something to do with substances. So yeah, I feel like you guys are kind of struggling with some inner self-loathing, because the moment I brought up, like, substance abuse, I was immediately feeling like, oh, God, here she goes. She got my MO or whatever, and I'm like, okay, well, that's just how it be, Cardi B. Yeah, sorry, this deck is kind of all topsy-turvy. But yeah, I mean, I feel like you guys need to make sure that you're practicing self-control, that there's some kind of a limit. Even if it isn't necessarily about substances, I feel like limitations are a thing you really struggle with how to. Like, I feel like this group is kind of random, but whether it be limits in terms of boundaries, pushing yourself at work too hard, or just not knowing when to quit. Like, I don't know if you're, like, the kind of people that, like, you're constantly at your job, like, wondering, or you're stressed out, or you're dealing with frustrating people and situations where you're, like, always asking the same questions over and over and over again. Or you're always talking to people and being like, why do they always do this to me? Or you're, like, frustrated in why this person's behavior is that way. It's because you're not giving up. You're not letting things go and letting things move on. You get caught up on small details. And that's something that's hurting you fundamentally because it's not worth your energy, but you get locked into it all the time. Normally, I'm going to just keep pulling cards and see what comes out. Yeah, and there's some kind of a behavioral pattern, too, that you wish you could have, you want to have more control over yourself. That's something that I'm feeling, too. You're like kind of resistant when other people bring things towards you. Like if you try getting called out on something, you're immediately like, well, that's what my dad did, or that's what, his father did before him, and that's just that's why I drink, or that's why I do these different things. And that isn't an acceptable answer, and you know it, but that's kind of your excuse, or there's some kind of a subconscious thing that's preventing you from being able to break free from these patterns. Some of you have tried, but I feel like a majority of you kind of just deflect because it's hard, and because you honestly don't understand why you can't gain control. And you've kind of tried in the past, some of you haven't, but I feel like you've tried at least a little bit. And that's what's affecting you a little bit from being able to work on this stuff. So, okay. You guys got a lot of cards here, so I'm going to hopefully try to keep this short. Oh man. I just want to let you know that you guys got the Tower, which is a card in tarot that is frequently associated with big changes, upheavals, and basically stuff going down. And I definitely have a feeling there's going to be some stuff in this reading that is going to be your Tower moment. So, here we go, guys. Hold on to your butts. I'm not even going to get into these cards until I get through this other stuff, because there's just a lot right here. I feel like I need to take another shot, which is something I'm not going to do, but definitely, if you guys don't struggle with substances or addictive patterns, that I would be very, very surprised. Or it's not something you've explored yet, but you may be susceptible or is in your family system. Alright, yeah, so we've got heartache and loss, trapped in fear, material harvest, and hope. Yeah, so I feel like you've lost hope in a lot of areas of your life. I feel like you guys are stagnant, either in your jobs or you just kind of like existing in the world, which is completely okay. But I think you are a little more hard on yourself than I think you give yourself credit for. Like, I think that you're somebody who you work hard, or at least you do an average job. And I feel like the world's telling you need to be great and whatever, but you're like, I'm just an average person. I'm an average Joe, I'm an average guy or girl, and I just want to be happy. I want to be married and have a good family, and I don't want to have these addictions, and, I just want to have a better life. And I feel like you're trapped in fear of someone or something from your past, or there's some kind of like a reluctance to face your issues. Again, I kind of feel like for some of you, you may be a spiritual deflector, so maybe you use religion or spirituality like tarot cards, readings, or different things to try to distract you from what's going on in your life, but you really don't want to actually face it. You don't want to acknowledge the fact that there are patterns and things that you actively know are going on and avoid facing them, so you're going to watch tarot card readings about love and romantic relationships, for example. Or maybe you're the type of person that you participate a lot in church, or whatever religion you participate in. You're participating in it because you want to feel holy and connected to God, but you're not allowing yourself to actually connect within your own spirit, within inside yourself. And a lot of it's because you've got a lot of heartache and loss affiliated with it, and that's why that connection with the substance, it brings you closer to the thing that you have lost is when you're using a substance. And so that's why you're trapped, because you're afraid of yourself, you're afraid of your substance abuse, you're afraid of what's going on behind your back. Like, there's a lot of fears of stuff that you have more control over than you think, but the emotion of fear is what's holding you back fundamentally. And it's something that your lack of communication with your fear is what's trapping you in the first place. You're not allowing that fear to exist. You're not allowing that grief to exist and that pain. And I feel like you're kind of the person that you keep thinking, well, it's supposed to go away, but because there's something wrong with me, it's not going away, so I have to drink to cope with it. And that's a really not logical way of thinking. Or I think part of it's the result of watching society around you. Everyone appears like they're okay, and it appears like, well, other people move on, so why can't I? You don't have to move on, all right? You just got to learn to manage your emotions better, all right? And I think that fear is you're afraid that you're always going to be stuck in this loop, when the reality is you're creating the loop. You can walk out of this dynamic at any point in time that you want. And this deflection right here, maybe you're trying to always think positively, and so whenever you can't think positively, you drink because that's your self-punishment. Or maybe there was I feel like this group is kind of varied for the rhyme or reasons, but whatever the case, this false positivity, you're always trying to look towards the light, but then ignoring the heartache and loss, and so that's why you can never get there. And that's why you can never fully connect with the love and the light and that true happiness that you're feeling. And so then it keeps loops and loops and loops and loops, and it keeps coming back to that. So then you feel hopeless, and then you just stay stuck. So hopefully that gave you guys some, something to work with. So we've got the outlaw, power, get curious, release. So I feel like one advice that Spirit's kind of giving you is get a little more curious about life. I feel like some of you get a little too stuck in your routines. You don't ask enough questions, or you're kind of just, again, you kind of have like the average Joe vibe where you're like, well, I'm curious about things, but that happens to other people and not to me. And that's not true. I feel like there's a little bit of a rebellious streak in you, or there's a little bit more going on than what you kind of allow yourself to do. You're just trying to go through the motions and get through the day. And Spirit's asking you to kind of push yourself a little bit more. You've got so much more inner power and inner strength than you realize. If you knew that you could break out of this pattern as easy as you could, you would have a lot more reclaiming of your power and more responsibility over your life when you start releasing this baggage. Allow yourself to be sad. Allow yourself to frequently release your emotions in safe and controlled places, and get curious about yourself, about the world around you. There's so much to explore out there, and just because maybe you're middle-aged, or maybe you feel like you've seen and done it all, or there's various reasons for why there's various reasons why this group doesn't want to be explorative in life, whether it be trying a new food or traveling to a new place. I think, again, part of it has to do fear of change, not wanting to go out. And this is just, God, Spirit, whoever is reminding you to just get curious about life again. There's so many opportunities out there, and you never know what's going to happen out there. This is just a reminder to not lose that curiosity, because that's how you find new things that are better for you. And I mean, sometimes you find worse things, but that's part of life, and you're being encouraged to participate, and that will help you with releasing these burdens you're dealing with. So then you can do more than just sit around and drink. Like, you can drink and have fun and use substances all you want, but have a threshold and have a balance, I'm not saying you can't have fun. I'm just saying, you shouldn't be always doing the same thing every single day. It's like, maybe your addiction isn't drinking, but maybe it's playing video games all day. Maybe it's just doing the same routine and never changing. I don't know. There's a lot of resistance to change in this group, or maybe not completely resistant to change, but it just needs more spark, to get the ball moving. Alright, so I'm going to look at these cards down here. Yeah, and I'm hearing you kind of need to get lost a little bit. Allow yourself to not know where you're going and have that spontaneousness again. I'm seeing stuff with the moon here, so I don't know if, going outside and stargazing would be useful for you, or maybe, you really like kind of doing stuff at night. Maybe if you're not a party person, go out and party. Or maybe you do the opposite. Maybe you're always up at night, and maybe because you're a night owl, you always try to go out and drink. So instead of going out and drinking, maybe you find another hobby that you could do at night. I mean, there's other ways that you can connect with people other than using sex, drugs, and alcohol, It's just finding out what works for you, and not running away from the daylight, I guess. I feel a little bit of resistance toward daylight, and I don't know why. And I think maybe it's that association with light, that you're kind of like, well, I'm trapped, and I feel like that association with the daytime and all that stuff, you're escaping from that daily grind. And so you got to find a way of maybe finding a career that fits you better, or a lifestyle that's a better fitting for you. Who knows? But there's definitely some stuff that you're resisting on working on. And, part of in Tarot, the moon is all about revealing shadow aspects of yourself and things inside of you that you don't want to see. And, I definitely feel like right now, a lot of this looping pattern that you're doing is you're intentionally trying to not look at your pieces of yourself that are hidden from you because you're scared and afraid of what it means. Like, oh, I'm going to be a bad person, or people are going to reject me, and it's really not true. It just means it's going to guide you closer towards people that are actually like you and are healthier, than I think maybe the people you have around you. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just keep hearing, like, raise a glass. I don't know. I'd be like, also, raise a glass for yourself. Maybe you haven't celebrated yourself in a little bit. I mean, I know I just kind of, like, really called out some heavy stuff here, but I'm like, you need to go out and celebrate. Like, not party, but celebrate. Like, go out there and do something that you're actually doing for yourself, and being like, you know what, I'm going to take myself out, get a nice big steak dinner because I did that thing that I said I wasn't going to do, and I did it anyway. Or for all those little small accomplishments, like, get used to treating yourself well and better, and not waiting for a spouse to do it for you. I feel like sometimes you guys get a little bummed out or feel dismissed when other people don't do things for you, and the reality is that's a part of life. I feel like that dismissal is because you're not doing it for yourself and you're waiting for other people. And, that shows great independence when you're able to celebrate yourself, because other people are going to do it regardless, but sometimes people can't. Sometimes people are busy with work. Sometimes they're busy with their own traumas and stuff. It's not that they don't want to celebrate you, it's just that they're not your parent, and they're not always available, And so it's okay to celebrate yourself. You're not a weirdo. If anything, people need to learn to do that more, because life is still life regardless of if you have a lot of friends or not. So, alright, so I'm going to get into the next set of cards. And hopefully this will wrap up the reading. I know this one's going to be a little longer than most, so I apologize if I'm talking too much, but I think it's all useful information, so hope you're enjoying. Like and comment below if this is resonating with you. Alright, so these next set of cards, these are customized index cards that I have made for myself. The top cards are what I consider core wounds, so I wrote sentences down that evoke specific emotions and are supposed to bring out feelings to help you work on yourself. Maybe something that hurts you, or maybe it's something that will make you happy. I don't know. It's just a sentence, and so the goal is to see how you react to those sentences. Alright, and then the next following deck is literally just random phrases I wrote on index cards. And so that one's called Papa Deck because it's a giant index card deck. So everyone say hi to Papa Deck. Alright, so I'm going to start with Papa Deck and then go into the Four Wounds deck. Alright, so the first card I have is, if you died tomorrow, what would you wish you would have done? And I think that's a good question. I think that really ties well into what we were talking about earlier is, like, if you died tomorrow, would you feel happy and satisfied with all the things that you've done? Like, are you spending all the time right now in places that you need to? Like, with making the relationships you want to have, or are you just going through the motions? The next card is Remember the Love, with a little heart on it. And this is just a reminder that, every day, people, regardless if they say it directly or not, you're loved every single day. And I think that, when times get hard, if work is hard, or, you're in a position where maybe things aren't going exactly the way that you want them to, this is just a reminder to remind yourself that you are loved, and you should be thinking about that as you kind of go forward in life, that's not going to leave you. The next card is Hurry It Up, Will You? And I feel like you're too impatient. I feel like you're kind of asking the universe, for change and whatnot, and you're not taking the steps or actions that you need to. If anything, the universe is asking you, will you hurry up? Because they're wondering what's taking you so long to ask the questions that you need to, or to take the necessary changes that need to be made. Because there's a life out there that's different than the one you have right now that's waiting for you. It needs you there. Okay, so the next card is War Never Changes. And that is a quote from a game I like to play called Fallout. And essentially, the whole idea is just directly as it says, war never changes. And that's something to kind of remind you that there's some things in life that will never change, regardless of how much humanity, develops. And this is kind of a reminder to you to let go of what you can't control and focus on what you can. And to understand that life's always going to be life no matter what, so choose wisely on how you spend your time. That even though things appear really uncertain and like they're all going to hell right now, life's going to continue to move forward regardless of how you think the world should be or how you think the future should look. And that's why you got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself the way that you need to and not allow external situations to keep you from your path, and to not let your past prevent you from your path. Okay, the next card is, this is not about the person/situation you expect. And I feel like maybe you have a tendency to blame either blame or go about pushing things onto a person or a situation that really isn't the actual cause. Now, I don't know if this is a family member or if there's like something in your past that you're like always beating yourself up on, or you're like, oh, well, I wouldn't be drinking if it weren't for da 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 da, or if there's, some other type of some type of pattern, but I have a feeling that you have a tendency to pinpoint things on a person, and that's inherently preventing you from being able to move towards your goal. I don't know, that was a specific message for maybe some of you. I don't know, take what resonates. They be talking shit behind the back. Yeah, so for some of you, this applies where either you're talking shit about somebody and it's getting back to them, or it's the opposite. There's somebody that's talking shit about you and they're causing some drama. And I feel like for most part, this is people at work, or it isn't just at work, it's something to do with your community. But in any case of where the source is, just keep that in mind. Take what resonates. But that is happening to a few of you. And the final card is Dream of a Beautiful Future, Darling. This is just kind of a reminder, as I said, don't get caught in the day-to-day drawl and dream of something new. Dream of a beautiful future, and you can get there. Dreaming isn't, like, people are always saying, well, you got to keep dreaming. And everyone's like, yeah, do that. But you really should, because you can't achieve it if you want it. You just got to come up with it first, Okay, so now that those are done, the next set of the next set of cards are my core wound cards. So we've got, the first card is good intentions doesn't mean they're justifiable. Their actions still hurt. And this is just a reminder to make sure that you're not allowing other people's good intentions to distract you from the fact that they're hurting you, or vice versa. Just because you care about a person does not justify being rude to somebody or doing or talking a certain way to a person. It's just hurtful, and maybe they haven't said it, but their actions kind of show it. And if that resonates or makes you think of a certain person, then listen to that, because I feel like there's some kind of a dynamic like that going on. I am a piece of a collective, nothing more or nothing less. And so this is kind of a reminder that, you are just one person in a part of a collective. No one is ever truly alone, and we're all connected together, There's never truly a person, we're all individually unique. However, there's never a person that's not fundamentally or energetically bound to another person. So make sure that you're aware of that when you're interacting with everybody and how you're viewing yourself, There will always be people that are just like you out there, and maybe they're not exactly like you, but they're still similar enough that you can make connections and find, new opportunities out there. There doesn't need to be force applied to love. Yeah, so this is something that if you're trying to force a situation where you're trying to get someone's attention, you're trying to be loved by somebody, or you're just going, I don't know, I feel like this could apply to either you're trying to shower this person with love, or like, you're constantly chasing people, or I'm doing this or I'm doing that in order to find a lover. Like, don't, because right now none of that's helping. It's not working, and I think love needs to flow a little bit more naturally. And now this is a general reading, not a love reading, but make sure that the love you have for yourself kind of shines through, and then it'll start, permeating to your other relationships. And I have plenty of other readings that you can check out for more information on that. And everyone's got an opinion on love, so, but this is just pointing that out. And when I say love, this doesn't necessarily apply to romantic either. This could also be like, family, friends, that sort of thing. My path is different and doesn't have... Oh. I read that as different, but that maybe will apply better than what I actually have in here. So my path is difficult and doesn't have to align with others' expectations. And I think, now that I read that, I think different is probably better, because some of you don't have issues as much as everyone else, but you may just be different, and, that's okay, and accept your differences as you move through life, and that, you're not, as long as you're not hurting anybody or doing anything wrong, then, it's just different, and that's completely fine, and you should feel confident in yourself in accepting that. I will find other ways to meet my needs if this way doesn't work. So continue to try to find new ways of overcoming your obstacles, and I don't know, I think it's easier to just say, hey, if you want something and this way doesn't work, just ask and the universe will send you a new way. It's kind of weird, but you should try it. I am capable of thinking and acting for myself. Make sure that you are taking time to check in with yourself and say, what do I feel and think about this situation? What do I need to do to get what I want? Because I feel like there's some of you in this group that are constantly checking for validation externally to yourself, and that's not good, because you're not necessarily going to make a stronger relationship with yourself and be able to learn and grow on your own. Like, you can ask others for advice, but you're capable of thinking and acting for yourself, and some of you were kind of taught that you don't rely on that, or you shouldn't rely on yourself, but I think you should. You're not always going to make the best decisions, and you're not always going to be right. However, you're still responsible for thinking and acting for yourself. So you don't always have to listen to somebody in order to make the right decision. I don't need to feel in order to cry. Yeah, so this is a reminder to some of you guys, especially you guys, that, it's okay if you don't have an explanation for why you're crying. Sometimes you just need to feel and let out emotions and not put thoughts into them. And just let your body kind of do what it needs to do. If you've been resisting to crying, have a hard time crying, or trying to conceal feelings, this is just a reminder you don't have to understand it, but you should allow yourself to just kind of be as you are and release those feelings and thoughts, even if there's not another person nearby. And the final card, I have flaws and I need to accept them. And that is just, pretty straightforward. You have flaws, and accepting them is an essential part of being able to love yourself fully and truly for who you are. So that's something we all have to go through, and is an important part of becoming an adult and getting through life, because you are with you all the time, and you got to understand that at the end of the day, we all make mistakes. Can't avoid it. Anyways, though, thank you guys so much for watching my reading. If you're interested in purchasing a reading, please check out the link down below. I have a link to my Fiverr account, which is where you will officially purchase readings. There's also a place where you can donate money in case you don't want to purchase anything and you just want to support me financially. Feel free to send money that way. Anyways, thank you so much, and like and comment down below if you like what you heard, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, you have chosen group 3, which is this, it's like you can't really see, it's supposed to be like an invisible sock for flats that's like tan color. And this is going to be your reading. I'm going to go ahead and take a shot, and let's see what yours is going to be all about. Oh man, this is going to be about relationships. Oh, I knew it. There's always one group. Always one in all these readings, because all y'all people keep coming in and being like, where's my lover? Where's my lover? Okay. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and pull some cards and see what this is going to be about. Okay, so I'm hearing it's not necessarily going to be about, like, love relationships, but it's going to be about love relationships. I don't know why I'm contradicting myself on this, but it's like, I almost feel like you just got to take what resonates. So, like, for you, if in this situation this applies to a platonic relationship as opposed to a romantic relationship, then that's completely okay. Because this could be a coworker, this could be a friend. Just take what resonates, but regardless, it's some kind of a relationship with another person that is causing things to be amiss, or there's just something that's going on that's just not right. Or you just need advice about it. Or just confirmation. Yeah, I feel like some of you guys need confirmation about what's going on with a person too. You know, like you don't know what to say, or there's like a problem that's been going on, and it's almost like too much even to bring up in one reading. I don't know. But if you like this, you can feel free to purchase one in case this resonates with you and you're not one of my normal viewers. Because, you know, I do a pretty bang-up job with that reading. So no. Alright. Oh my god. Alright. Gosh. Alright. Y'all are seeing this. There's a lot that needs to be said here. I mean, granted, these cards are a little slippery, but they're, like, definitely active, for sure. Anything else here, yes or no? Alright, so I'm going to start with Papa Deck first. So for those of you that are not aware, Papa Deck is a giant group of index cards that I just have random sayings on. So we have no idea what's going to come out of them, because some of them are 18 plus, some of them are just random. But yeah, we're going to just go ahead and pull them out and see what comes out in regards to relationships, I guess. Maybe some other messages too, I don't know. Oh man, some of you guys are gonna get shook hard. I don't know, I needed to say that. Maybe I feel like I'm gonna have a bunch of new people for this reading. So, and I don't know why, but you guys are gonna get a wake up call. Some of you are. So this first card is War Never Changes, and I feel like, you know, I'm hearing the phrase like all's fair in love and war, but for some reason I wanted to change it for all's love and war and reality, and I feel that's accurate because of the standpoint, you know, where I don't even know what I just said, but basically what's going on with you guys is I feel like love is constantly a challenge or a burden. Like, I feel like very burdened by my relationships right now, or, you know, this relationship's a burden. Trying to find true love is a burden. It's almost like your search for a partner or a perfect relationship, even if it's non-romantic, like the perfect friend or the perfect, like, work partner or spouse. Like, some of you finding a spouse is not even about love. It's just about finding a person who fills your space. And what I want you to understand is that, like, life doesn't change. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to, maybe your goal isn't to find true love, you just want a partner. But even then, like, it's not going to be satisfying if you're not choosing things for the right reasons. Like, what is the reason that you want a partner? Honestly. I don't know why I heard, like, political partner, but, like, I feel like it's almost, like, political for the reasons why you want a spouse. It's either to shut your family up, it's to shut this, like, yearning in your heart space, or I don't know what the deal is, but there's this political, like, your desire to heal a relationship or be in a relationship with people is really based off of what you gain out of things and about politics rather than about like actually forming human bonds and connections. And I think that's why you're so miserable with people, because you're constantly just being like, well, I'm going to go to this tarot card reading and see what this one says, and I'm going to go to this one, I'm going to go to this one until I hear what I want to hear. And let me tell you, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever your gender identity is, you're not going to get that from this reading. You're not going to get that from me. I'm going to tell you the truth, and I'm going to tell you exactly as you need to hear it, because what's going on is you're repeating a pattern of absence in your own life. You're completely absent from your own decision making. Like, you're a person that you're trying to fill, you're a void filler, and you're using friends, you're using family, you're using spouses, the dreaming of a wedding and blah, 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 so you don't actually connect to yourself. You're connecting into what everyone else thinks, and you like it just enough so you can fit in, conform, and have a decent life, when the reality is you're watching a tarot card reading, okay? Let's just stop right there and be like, all right, whether you're from either a more traditional country or you have a more traditional family background, whatever the case is, you're watching a tarot card reading, and you're looking for a partner or a spouse or a message from something that is completely esoteric and coming from the divine. Do you really think God is caring about all these like small things with, that has everything to do with something that is not what God told you to go and pursue? Do you think God chose a life for you and is connecting you with tarot card readings and intuition and all this nonsense, quote unquote, according to your family and all these other people, because you're supposed to just settle down, get married, and have babies and live a life that is completely devoid of God and what your intuition is telling you to do? No. If you made your way to this tarot card reading, you're about to get you're about to get realigned with reality here, because this next card right here, I gave up too much. And I feel like you give up so much of yourself. You basically gave up your entire life to something that you don't even believe in. You're just floating through life. And if you made your way here, it's because God wants to evoke a reaction in you and say, it's time to start to wake the fuck up. And yes, I'm cursing at you because you didn't listen when God sent you the nice little tarot card readers and the messages and whatever. Like, this message is reaching you, specifically the viewer, to get your ass off the couch and go figure your stuff out. To actually start listening to what your intuition is telling you. Because the problem that's going on here is you're allowing other energies, other things to cloud up your mind because you don't want to focus on connecting with yourself, or there's some kind of thing inside of you where you don't want to, you want to fit in, but you don't want to not fit in. You are desperate for remaining to be connected to your family, connected to what you believe is true, and you're simply unwilling to branch out from there. Intuition is not made to be used to just find relationships that mean nothing to you, okay? And to justify your feelings towards another person that you really maybe not even want, all right? There's a lot of this twin flame bullshit that's going on out there where half of these people don't even know what a twin flame is, and they're choosing actively to continue to replay and rehash these unhealthy patterns. And you're about to break that cycle, because if you're in my neck of the woods and listening to my readings, I'm going to cut that out for you right away. Because you don't deserve to have a partner that's just going to be continuing to play into this karmic deck pattern, or whatever label that the spiritual community decides to throw on there. You deserve a partner that cares about you and treats you more than just, is a bank account, is a void filler, is a bed warmer. That's not what your purpose in life is about. And right now you're focusing so surface level because you're afraid to access your intuition. You're afraid to have access to that piece of you that looks beyond what's going on right now, and you can't even comprehend it. And you don't want to comprehend it because it's scary. Because you believe you're on your own. You believe your family's not going to support you. And in some cases, that's the truth. But God's not calling you to sit around and work 9 to 5, to sit around and turn your intuition off. Maybe you've got something bigger and greater planned for you, and you've been listening to it for years and years and years, but you're like, well, that's just not me. That's just a little voice. I'm going to turn it off because, that's just a story. That's just fiction. That's just whatever. I'm here to tell you that that's not the case. You're much more powerful and much more intuitive than you allow yourself to be. And if you don't start listening, God's going to drag you one way or another. Okay? The next card is, it's the only way I know how to be a man. Yeah, so for some of you, especially for the men, but I'm specifically feeling this is for the women too. The only way you know how to be a woman is by what your mother's taught you and what society tells you need to be. You need to look a certain way. You need to dress a certain way. You need to talk a certain way. And that's not acceptable anymore. It's 2022, all right? Women are allowed to express emotions other than happiness and sadness. They don't have to always be saying and doing things to adhere to coping with the situation the way other people want them to be. You don't have to be constantly coddling your husband because he is not man enough to deal with his problems. You have options now, honey. You have the ability to make money if you want to. You don't have to choose a marriage just because your family says so, because you are sustainable on your own. Your intuition is guiding you to do what you need to do. And it does not matter who says no. If God's telling you to do something, God's going to take you the right direction, is going to get you all the support you need. You're not going to always know the truth, but that's exactly why you're here, because you need to learn how to access your intuition. You need to learn how to align with the truth. And once you align with the truth, that's when you're going to really start being able to live a better and more fulfilling life. That's when you're going to find the romantic partner that you're looking for. You're going to find people that will be in your corner supporting you for who you are and not what you pretend to be, so society can accept you. And you're afraid about being hated. And guess what? That's probably the truth. The people are going to hate you regardless of if you're in your truth or not. So what's it going to be? Are you going to sit there and continue to lie to yourself, hate yourself, drink, go out and just only have a mediocre time and complain all day long about how your supposed husband doesn't do the things that you want to do, how you gave up on your dreams because your mother said you weren't good enough and wasn't willing to financially support you? Go get your own job. Go do your own thing. If God wants you to be something, then listen to God, because God's a lot more powerful than your family is, than society is, and anything else, any other force in the universe. So just keep that in mind, honey, because you're not here for no reason. And it's okay if you're angry. It's okay if you're scared. It's okay if you don't know what's going on. There's a lot of people going through the same exact thing you're going through. And whether you're a man, woman, anything in between, I don't care or know what's going on. But the reality is that your relationships are important and they matter. And wasting time on people that don't do nothing for you just to please other people is not the way God wants you to go. All right? And maybe it's not going to have a fairy tale ending the way that you suspect it is. But as long as you are aligning in the right direction that you need to go, then you'll be okay. I promise. As long as you are aligning with God's plan, you will not be left homeless. You're not going to be left without anything that you need. Which is ironic, because the next card says nothing is perfect. And if you're looking for a perfect life, a perfect husband, I'm going to be honest, a lot of times when you see that perfection, it's all fake. Perfection is fake. Perfection is not a real aspect of reality. Perfection is something a human being created, and it's subjective and puts on to other people to control them. Okay? And so when you see that perfect life and those people having all those amazing, wonderful things, that's because they're giving up their freedom, they're giving up their connection with God and about reality in order to have something that appears perfect but isn't real. It's only maintained by control. And you can find happiness in the fact that life is not perfect, that you are not perfect, that your life is not perfect, and your partner is not perfect. And you will be able to be released from all of that and feel better about it. And it's okay. And it's okay to be ashamed of the fact that you're not perfect, but the reality is nobody is perfect. Anyone who claims otherwise or tries to come up with fake flaws is wrong and does not have the ability to hold their own out in that world. Because they know what people do to each other when you are honest and vulnerable. And that's what truly being a woman is about, is vulnerability and being able to admit the truth. That's why strong, powerful women speak truth, and they're not afraid. and they don't lie, and they don't cover up, and they don't have to wear masks all the time. And maybe that's more common in your country, but the reality is that every woman everywhere has the same ability for truth, and that's why we're so powerful. Here's the next card. If I wanted to make it happen, I would have done it by now. And maybe that's something you need to hear about a romantic partner. If that man really wanted you, if he had the ability to come towards you, he would have done it by now. And you can't stop. You can't keep waiting anymore. You need to let it go. He needs to be gone. And it's the same with other relationships too. So maybe this isn't romantic, but maybe if it's a job, you've been waiting for that promotion. If they wanted you, they would have made it happen, but they didn't. If they wanted to consider you for something, you would have heard by now. And it's okay. It doesn't mean you're not worthy. It just means that you gotta stop waiting on things that don't belong to you. And again, this is about owning your power and following what your intuition tells you. God's saying no to whatever this is, so that way you can go where you need to go. It doesn't matter how hard it is, God's going to take care of you no matter what. I've got an illness that nobody else sees. Now this could be you or it could be someone else, but the reality is there are things that are not being seen, but your intuition knows about. And this is a reminder that, not everything is the way that it seems. And people are doing all these things to cover up the fact that they are wounded and hurt. And that's why you shouldn't be listening to anybody other than yourself and your own inner truth. Because other people got illnesses that people can't see, and they're not aware of it. And if you're listening to people that are ill, that can't deal with their own issues, then you're going to end up ill yourself. So be careful and be cautious about who you listen to. Because people that are secure in themselves encourage and empower others, and they're not going to lie to you. They're not going to try to convince you to not listen to yourself, because there may be things that I'm wrong about, and in your heart don't align with that, and that's perfectly acceptable, and I can accept that because I want you to be more powerful and in your truth than following what I have to say. I'm just here to help you out and to guide you on your journey. Blame their brain. Yeah, and so that's another thing too, is like some of you guys, in terms of romantic relationships, it's not necessarily that this person doesn't care about you. I feel like 9 out of 10 cases, this person probably does care about you. However, there's other things going on in their life that are preventing them from coming towards you. And that's okay, and that just means that person is not available to you. And you need to stop asking about them. Stop wishing things were different. Stop wishing, if only he took care of himself, if only he's quit drinking, if only he da-da-da-da-da. Blame their brain and move on towards someone else. Okay? That's just all you need to hear, because nothing's going to change sitting here crying and whining or continuing to watch tarot card readings about somebody that isn't going to come towards you no matter what. He isn't going to apologize either, because he doesn't want to. Because he doesn't even feel he did anything wrong. So, quit hurting yourself, honey, and just move forward. Alright, so, next set of cards for you guys, group 3. So this is going to be about the next phase. I feel like, you've been shining a light on a couple things. I feel like you're becoming more and more aware of your inner demons and about things that maybe there's some truths that have been revealed recently that are not as nice as you think. Now, that could be this reading itself, but I feel like there's other things too. And I want you to be aware of to pay attention to how your reaction is whenever you see the truth and see how you feel. Because sometimes if you're not capable of handling a truth, you should pay attention to how your body reacts. So whenever you feel that, you can avoid getting into situations that are bad or harmful for you. Alright? Because I feel like with this group, sometimes people have a tendency to ignore the red flags. And this is an example of, as you become more aware of what red flags look like, if you feel uncomfortable and you recognize what that red flags feeling feels like, pay attention to that, and then when you feel it somewhere else, You may not have learned that lesson yet, but you can avoid a bad position by identifying how that feels. I feel like this is a death card, and there's something about, because it's in reverse, I feel like there's someone who you care about, and I feel like I just need to say their death is not in vain. Maybe that's a literal death, or maybe it's a metaphorical death. Like, I feel like the death of this relationship or this past version of yourself was not in vain. You know, just because this relationship didn't work out or this person isn't in your life anymore. You know, I think you learn some valuable information from it, and it's going to guide you towards a better partner in the future. And you got death right next to it. Yeah, so I've got death, two versions of death. One death is in reverse, and then one that's upright. One's like a cute bunny rabbit, and one's this creepy guy. Here, I'll show you. So this is what that looks like. Very jarring images, but I think that's kind of like where you gotta look at the death of a relationship and see the positives and the benefits. Or see the positives, benefits, and the negatives and consequences. And, you know, obviously you lost a relationship, but you also gained freedom. You know, you gained independence and you gained wisdom and knowledge, you know, and you're making yourself better for your next person. And I mean, it's not like it changed you in your quality aspects. I mean, you may feel like it, because especially if someone hurts you, you know, obviously you're going to change as a person. Doesn't mean you're not any less attractive. It's not like it changed your femininity or your masculinity. You know, you're still, you know, a lovable person, and, you know, that's okay. And there's going to be good and bad that comes with both relationships. And it doesn't necessarily mean that there was something wrong if it ended. It just means that it ended, you know? And I got this 5 of Cups over here, and I feel like there's just this broken, forlorn feeling, you know, because you see this little guy standing on a pier. And I feel like you just need to navigate your broken relationships and kind of find the pattern here. And like, what's consistent between all of your broken relationships? And see what you can do to change yourself so that way you can start attracting better partners and to heal within yourself too. You know, because there's a lot of healing internally that, you know, when you pay attention to those patterns of what do all of my exes have in common, that will start leading you towards what exactly is hurting within you so you can heal that. You know, pay attention to that. You know, because there's chips in your armor. And I feel like sometimes your family has taught you that you can do no wrong. And I feel like what's happened is you don't have a way of objectively looking at yourself. I feel like you either had one extreme or the other. Either you were very coddled, insecure, or you were very like, oh, well, it was an extreme. I don't know. So take what resonates, because some people that doesn't resonate with. But I definitely feel like there's, like, again, a lot of traditionalism, and there's almost like a not seeing reality. And I think you haven't been taught how to view the chips in your armor or your own flaws in a healthy way so that way you can work on yourself. Or that criticism isn't a bad thing, you know? Because it's like with criticism, it's like, okay, yeah, you need to work on stuff, but it's okay, we still love you. And I think that's what you're missing is there's things that you need to heal and work on, but I still love you and I'm going to support you through it anyway. And I think that's the sentence or phrase that you really need to be telling yourself right now, is that you're not a flawed person, you're not unworthy of love, you know, but like you got to learn that, you know, you need to be willing to take responsibility for your actions and responsibility for your love life and be willing to love yourself through it. And that's a challenging thing. But I think you guys can do it. You know, I think you guys are learning to see through the bullshit, and you're learning to see yourself for who you actually are, and not what your family wants you to be, not what your partner wants you to be, who you actually need and want to be. And that's really important. You know, I feel like you're moving towards a relationship that's going to be more in line towards yourself. I'm seeing a lot of swords here. And crosses and whatnot, so I feel like once you kind of come out of this, like, I'm seeing a lot of this, and the sigils and the energies and whatnot, and so once you kind of, like, break down the barriers and the walls, I think you're going to have a much easier time with life. I mean, you got the Sun card right here, which, you know, is the happiest thing in the deck, and, you know, at the end of the day, you know, the sun is always shining, and so are you, and you need to make sure that you're paying attention to your own sunshine and your own light throughout this journey, because, you know, it doesn't matter how dark our wounds are, we're still emanating light all the time. And being able to hold a place for both is really important on our healing journey. Anyways, though, if you liked my reading, please consider liking and subscribing. Comment down below to see if it resonates with you and what other people think. I like your feedback. Also, if you'd like to purchase a reading, you can go to the link in the description below to my Fiverr account. That is the only place I purchase readings. If you'd like to donate money, which is just a, generous donation or gift, you can go ahead and leave a tip in the description below. Anyways, though, thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hello, everyone. You have chosen Group 4, which is the Power Ranger sock. It's a pretty big looking sock here. These readings have been completely random, so don't expect any consistency to this reading at all. I've been taking half a shot every single reading, so I'm feeling pretty tired, but otherwise pretty coherent. Anyways, though, I'm going to take my shot, and let's see what comes out. Whew! I don't know why, that tasted a little sweet. I don't know why. Okay, the word I heard was behavior, but I don't know what that means. I don't know. I'm trying to pinpoint this energy, and I really don't know how it feels. I don't know. I'm just going to start pulling some cards. Well, okay, you can just go ahead and fall right on out then. I don't know, I'm just feeling like positive, sweet energy, I don't know, Group 4, I don't know why, but I get the feeling like someone misses you. Like, someone misses you a lot. And I don't know what it is, but this person feels very familiar. Maybe it's a significant other, maybe it's a person who's passed on, but I don't know. I just feel like you're missed. Maybe it could be a coworker. Yeah, for some of you it's a coworker that maybe you didn't always get along with, but they never said what they needed to say. Or maybe it's a person you don't even know. For some of you that's the case. I don't know, but someone's been thinking about you, and it kind of varies from person to person. Again, this is a general reading, and I literally have no direction with what's going on here. But yeah, there's just like this feeling of like, you're being missed. Your presence, your energy. What's this one? Yeah, and someone wants you to know that they love you very much. Maybe you're not told that enough, Group 4, but you're definitely very loved, and there's just somebody out there that just really wishes you to know that. Almost like maybe you're resistant to when someone tells you. Maybe you don't believe it, or maybe you're the kind of person that like, oh, yeah, I mean, people love me, yeah, but like, this is like actually like genuinely loving you. Like wanting to hold you at the end of a bad day. Like, after a breakup, they want to be there to support you, and they want to see you fly. They don't want to, like, be fake about it. They want to actually be there for you. That sort of love, Maybe you guys in Group 4, you're used to superficial love, and maybe you don't know what true love feels like, or the love of somebody who actually sees you for who you are and doesn't care about your flaws or what you pretend to be. They want you in your raw, authentic self. And this person just wants that and wants you to know that they love you despite the things you try to hide, and some of those things are the things they love the most about you. Yeah, so, right, anything else? Yes or no? Yes or no? Sorry, I'm conversing with my deck to see if anything else needs pulled. It just felt really unresolved. Maybe that's a feeling of the reading. Maybe this group, there's something unresolved between you and someone else. Alright, yeah, no, that feels right. Because I'm feeling like I could just keep pulling cards all night, but there's this feeling like you didn't leave things off right with someone, and maybe this is a person that was in love with you, either romantically or just really responded well to you and cared about you, and there was some kind of a break, maybe a breakup, or just maybe it was a situationship and you guys had to walk away from each other, but like there was something where you and this person that's missing you couldn't be with them, and so you had to walk away, but you left things unfinished. Yeah, no, that's kind of funny because I said that and Suffering and Silence came out. Wow. Yeah, so you've got recognition and reward, suffering and silence and power. In 398, if that resonates with you, I felt compelled to say it. But yeah, I feel like for some of you guys, it's a man that's missing you, or it's a woman. I think it depends on what your gender identity is, but there's definitely at least strong energy. Like whoever this person is a lot stronger than I think either you realize or they realize. Maybe it's more that they realize, but basically there's like a very strong connection between you and this other person, and I feel like you both didn't acknowledge it verbally, but you both kind of knew that you were important in each other's lives. And when you walked away, or they walked away, or whatever situation caused this person just wants you to know how much they loved and appreciated what you gave to them, what you showed them about themselves, and what you're going towards. You know, I feel like this person actively wants and supports you, whether you see it or not, manifesting you to reach and achieve the goals that you've set for yourself and where Spirit wants you to go. And I mean, again, maybe this is a parent, maybe this is a father figure or something, but I feel like there's a lot of just loving energy coming your way, group 4. But most of you, this is romantic, I feel. Or maybe you didn't know that this person was romantically feeling towards you. Like, the way to check is if you're hearing these words coming out of my mouth and you're picturing a specific person in your head, that's the person that is feeling this energy right now. Just saying, it's kind of weird, but I'm going to tell you right now that if you have an image of a person popping into your head right now, this is who I'm talking about. Spooky, I know. Recognition and reward. There's something about, like, they're just wanting to recognize how much you meant to them. I feel like for this particular group, no one said anything, and there's something about this connection that was either secret, or there was somebody that didn't approve, or maybe you didn't understand fully what you meant to them because they didn't communicate it, and you were like, there's mixed signals here, there wasn't timing, maybe it was an inappropriate work relationship, or maybe there was some kind of thing going on, but this person truly fundamentally, I don't know why, but when I'm looking at this girl looking at the sunrise, you're that sunrise and this is them watching you. Like, that is the only way to describe how they feel towards you. And I don't know, I got the words like, she makes me feel so masculine when I'm looking at her, or like, you know, regardless if you were the man or the woman, that feels what the dynamic is here. It's very much like by you just being and existing, this person feels more comfortable and positive and focused on life. You know, like maybe you helped them get through a position in life that they didn't think they were going to make it through, and then you just kind of popped up and said, hey, I'm here. And the situation resolved itself, and they were kind of sitting there stunned, like, wow, she didn't even have to try, and I already feel 10 times better, 20 times better, 50 times. I don't know, this person could gush about you all day, but I'm not going to do that. But, wow, there's just a lot of very loving, positive energy coming from this group. Aw. Yeah, this person just wants you to know you're loved. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that they want a romantic relationship with you, or I think it depends on the person, which I have other readings for that. However, this feeling is literally just pure love, you know? Like, I don't want to even say it's sexual, it's just absolute admiration and love. You know, like the romantic love that is not meant to be sexualized. It's like the stuff where, you know, the guy's waiting out in the rain for, like, or maybe not in the rain, but like waiting for decades for the moment to ask this person to marry them, and then they die the next day. Or like I know that's a really depressing example, but it's that vibe of literally being like, I could literally wait an entire lifetime, and all I need to hear is that yes, and I'll feel complete. It's like that level of just, that level of I love you. Wow. Wow, okay, I'm feeling, maybe it's the vodka, because this is my, fourth thing, but, like, this is very powerful stuff, guys. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and read Papa Deck. So Papa Deck is basically a bunch of index cards where I wrote random things on here, and, I don't know what's going to come out, but we're just going to go ahead and see. So we got, there's resentment building. Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know why I have to say this, but, like, I feel like he feels resentful towards himself for not saying goodbye. I feel like when you and this person parted, or whatever happened between you two that caused you guys to part ways, this person has a lot of resentment for themselves for not being honest and upfront about how they felt about you. Like, and it's continuing to build. And I feel like, I don't know if this person's going to try making a move towards you soon, which I'm feeling a very strong possibility of that for some of you, maybe most of you, but there's like this feeling of unresolved and not being able to be like, she can't walk away like this, or he can't walk away like this. Like, I'm literally like, I can't stand it. Like, they can't walk away. Not like this. But maybe in the situation that they had to, because they had other obligations, they weren't ready, there wasn't enough to bring towards you to make him worthy of you. Whatever the case, though, this person, you know, is very resentful against themselves for not taking an action towards you and not at least admitting their feelings, because you're so important to them, and they don't want you to feel like you aren't the most important person in your life. Maybe you're not the most important person in their life, because this again, it may not necessarily be strictly romantic. However, this person does feel you're very special, and they want you to know that. Life is so beautiful and amazing. Embrace it. Aww. Yeah, and I think that's their little reminder to you that, you know, life is so beautiful and amazing with you in it. And you should embrace that. That's what I'm feeling, is this person, that's how this person feels towards you. You know, is that you remind them of how beautiful and amazing and how varied life is. How you could be walking around one day and then suddenly this amazing person just falls into your lap and for no rhyme or reason, and you can disappear just like that. But that's how amazing life is. You know, that the fact that you even walked into this person's life already did so much for them, and you didn't have to lift a finger. All right, so this, for some of you, I think this applies, but if it doesn't resonate, don't take it. But so this card says, I can't right now, work on yourself. So this is a reminder that this person can't be with you for a reason. Now, whatever that reason is, it doesn't matter, because Spirit is guiding you to say, work on yourself, and don't allow this relationship and this love to hinder you from where you need to go. There's a reason why this person's not in your life right now. They could come back, they could not, you know? Especially if you were the one to walk away from them for a specific reason, then don't turn back. Or I'm hearing, don't turn your back. You're allowed to absorb the love this person sends you without allowing them back into your life. Okay? And so I'd say just sit and soak up this energy. Like, if you're able to sense the energy that's being sent your way, just soak up that energy. You don't have to accept this person. You don't have to accept their behavior or anything, but you can soak up that love and feeling for yourself, because that is all for you. And that's all you gotta do, is just receive the love. That's it. And this is where Spirit is trying to guide you towards allowing that love to be a part of your life, regardless of what the surface level feeling is. You know, that regardless of what happened between you and this person, regardless of how they hurt you, that love is very, very real. It's very passionate, and it's very there. And you're allowed to feel it and take that in. You don't have to be in a partnership or relationship directly with them to be worthy and deserving of this loving energy that they have for you. And that's okay, right? You didn't fail them. They didn't fail you. I mean, it depends on your individual circumstance, but I think at the end of the day, that's just all Spirit's trying to say, is stop with the blaming and the black and white and all that stuff, and just receive that love and just feel it throughout your body. And this relationship was meant to happen for that reason, was they were supposed to teach you what love feels like, you know? And it's there to remind you that you are not alone. And maybe that's all it was. For some of you, it's going to be more, a lot more. But if it's not, that's okay too, because you should be focusing on receiving that energy and that feeling. And if this person no longer provides that for you openly, then absorb what's left from this reading and take what belongs to you. All right, claim it. And then the next card is, my family doesn't like you, but I don't care. Yeah, so for some of you, this could be a family dynamic or family drama where this person is choosing their family relationships over you. And you may not like to hear it, but that is okay. And the reason why Spirit's saying that's okay is because Spirit has something else in mind for you. And that does not mean that you're not worthy of the love that this person provides or provided to you. Okay? And if this is a person that you actually do want, I mean, I'm feeling don't pursue them. I feel like if they're going to pursue you, they have to come to terms with, sorry, I was batting at a fly. But you gotta come to terms with your own stuff, and he or they need to make a decision on whether their family relationships are worth the dynamic they have with you. Again, they say, my family doesn't like you, but I don't care. They're going to love you regardless. But if they come towards you and want to have a committed relationship with you, that's where the card deviates. Because for some of you, he's going to come back, and he's going to try wifing you up. For other people, he's not coming back. And that's his decision. And regardless of what his decision is, or her decision, what you got to do is don't suffer in silence. Recognize and reward yourself and find your own personal power. Okay? Make sure that you are bringing in your resources, bringing in your family, your support system, and feeling love. And you're allowed to accept and feel the love from this person, but there's a certain point where you're going to have to cut it off and recognize that you can't get that sort of love from this person anymore. Because once they make that choice of who they're going to be and who they want to be with, then, I mean, either you're going to be wifed up, or either it's not. And you also got to decide if that's what you want as well. You know, because for some of you, your family, you know, is giving you grief too. Maybe this is you, where you say, my family doesn't like you, but I don't care. But his family does. You know what I mean? Everybody's different, but again, I keep feeling like this ring on my finger. And, you know, for some of you, this is your husband. That person you're thinking about. You know? Always has been, always will be. But just because you're married in other lifetimes does not mean that it's going to be this one. So that's just a matter of both of your choices. So I'm going to keep moving on. I know that wasn't very clear, but the problem is this is a general reading, so I can't give you much more information than what I'm picking up on. Because the energies are similar, but they vary from person to person. Okay. Alright, so I've got these tarot cards here. And then, so this next deck right here with these oracle, or they're not oracle cards, but they're index cards that I wrote on. The first group was Papa Deck. I don't remember if I said anything because I'm already tired. This next set is called my Core Wounds deck, and essentially these are just sentences and phrases that are supposed to evoke emotions out of you that will hopefully get you more aware of what your inner wounds are and will help you become more aware of yourself. So the first card is, our realities are not the same, and that's okay. All right, I feel like you and this person that's going on in this dynamic are not the same, and I feel like you see him differently than he sees you, but for some reason you guys work together, if that makes any sense. Like, you almost have, like, opposing views of each other. Like, you both want something different from the other person, so much to a point that you're unwilling to see what the other person wants, and yet you still go back and forth in, like, this loving way. And so it's kind of like, for example, like for you, maybe family's not as important, but for him, family's everything. Or vice versa. Maybe she wants to have children and you're like, I'm not ready for that, or I don't want that. You know what I mean? Like there's kind of like these backs and forths that, your realities are not the same, and you got to accept that, just because they're not the same right now doesn't mean that you don't love each other. All right, that love is there regardless of if it makes sense or not, because love is not supposed to always make sense. It's just love. Okay, and that's the thing that you have with this person, is that goes beyond thinking and thought patterns, and hating yourself for it isn't gonna fix it. So it's not gonna change it either. So might as well embrace the madness, And I feel like that's not just romantic love too. Like maybe again, if this person's like a coworker or a friend or parent, it's okay if this person doesn't do what you want them to do. Maybe you're watching this reading about a child, or maybe you're watching this reading about your own parent, like their view of what they think your life should be and your view of what you think your life should be are going to be different. And, that's how parent-child relationships are. Your dad or your mom is always going to view your life one way and how they think what would be best for you, and you know what's best for you. And that's okay. No one's bad or evil in that situation. Now, there's a bunch of caveats to that, but I'm going to keep moving. I don't have to be okay right now if I can't help it. And that's kind of a message from your spirit guides right now, is that, regardless of what you're going through, either in this situation or in life, you don't have to be okay right now if you can't help it. And if you're not capable of working through your issues and you're just struggling right now with this situation, it's okay, honey. Like, I literally want to just, like, softly take your hands and, like, rub them and be like, it's okay, all right? Like, you don't have to be with this person right now for you to be okay. You don't have to have this situation resolved right now in order to feel okay, all right? Just knowing you're not okay and accepting you're not okay is more than enough than what you need right now, all right? And just allow yourself to be comforted, and allow yourself, like, it doesn't matter what your family thinks about him or her or what they think about you. Like, just allow yourself to not be okay and say, I deserve the love from this person regardless of what shame or anything that binds me. Just take it and accept it and love it. And love them back, for God's sakes. You guys both love each other, you just, I don't admit it. It's frustrating. It's from your spirit guides. Alright, my desires are not always the truth or what I deserve. Yeah, so that's another thing too, is if this person that you're thinking about is not a healthy person, that's part of the reason why they're backed away from you and why Spirit's blocking the two of you for right now. Like, your desires are not always the truth. And just because you want something so desperately bad, you're trying to manifest this person, you want this person, and you can't have them, and you're, like, frustrated. And the reality is like, that's because what you want isn't necessarily your truth, and it's not necessarily his or her truth, okay? And it's not necessarily what either of you deserve either. Like, your relationship and dynamic is difficult, and it's different than what you're gonna expect when you actually get together. Or if you haven't gotten together or have got together and you're leaving, like, things were not always what they appeared, okay? And what you gotta understand is your will does not supersede what God wants for you, and isn't necessarily the defining truth, okay? And you deserve better, all right? You know what I mean? Because if this situation, like, just because the love is real does not mean that the situation is what you deserve. And so Spirit wants to guide you towards something that is more in line with a more deserving relationship. Whether it's with this person or not, it's you deserve better and deserve a better dynamic. And until things are healthier, God's going to keep clearing things away until the situation is make things more available to you. And make, the life that you deserve and happiness available to you. And you can stop resisting at any point in time you choose, but, like, that's the reality of the situation. And I'm saying, like, I can't help it, and you can't help resisting, or you can't help wanting it, and it's okay to want. It's just a matter of the can't help resisting. You can help resisting by actively choosing better for yourself every single day, by choosing to brush your teeth, by choosing to get up in the morning and get out of bed, by choosing to eat good food, by choosing to love and focus on yourself or to love and focus on other people that you've been neglecting, you know? There's a lot of things you've been neglecting because you've been consorting with others that don't have good values or aren't, things are a little twisted in their favor, or like you're just not allowing love to flow freely in your life. And that's why this situation is kind of destroying the goodness of what's going on, and that's why Spirit's guiding you in a different direction so that way you can have what you're trying to manifest. They just want a situation that's better for you than what is available to you right now. I can support myself mentally, emotionally, and physically. Yeah. So this is Spirit once again reminding you that you don't need this person in your life to support you. Now, it's going to be hard, especially if this person was a very strong support system for you. I don't think God is trying to tell you to not reach out for support from this person. Or to not accept and receive love from this person. A lot of what this is trying to say is that you need to stay grounded in reality and focus on what you do have right now and coming up with a way of supporting yourself without this person in alignment right now. It doesn't matter if this is your soulmate, your partner for life, whatever. The point being is they are missing you and they are not in your life right now. And so you gotta be figuring out your own support right now. And trusting in yourself that whatever happens with this other person, that it's gonna be okay regardless because I can take care of myself. And remind yourself that you can. You have before, and I know you don't like it, but it just means you gotta come up with a better support system so that way you can be able to move on without this person. Not saying it's not supposed to hurt, but you can and will do it. And God's gonna support you. And then, you are not my savior, I am. This person is not your savior, you are. And I know you're sitting there thinking, I'm always my savior, but that's not necessarily true. Because if you were your savior, you would be making choices that would allow yourself to be in a position to be surrounded by people that can help you. You're not allowing your true gifts to flow. You're not allowing that energy to come out of you and to manifest the things you deserve. You're holding yourself back because you're waiting for something that you believe you deserve when you already have it. And so that disconnect is preventing you from achieving the dreams and the desires that you want. And this person's only holding you back right now. And that's why God's holding them back from you. And they've got their own things to worry about anyway. So even if you manifest them or not, even if this person turns into somebody else, it doesn't matter because they're not your savior regardless. You are. And when you save yourself, you're going to find your person. And you're going to grow attached to what you actually deserve rather than what this person seems to be able to provide to you. Now again, this person seems like a great deal, but like the reality is they're not in alignment for a reason right now. And they got to make choices still. And this story's not over. This story's still creating and processing itself. So at any point in time, if they choose that you're not what they deserve, then they don't have to deserve you and they can choose to walk away. And the same applies to you. Don't wait for this person. This person will follow you till the day that you die. I don't have a doubt in that. It's just a matter of whether you're willing to wait and if you're willing to put in the effort to make that relationship work. And that's just a matter of choice. It's not about what's right and wrong. It's a matter of just what you want and what this person wants too. Yeah, wow, I was going to say, so moving on from that, I mean, for some reason I'm focused on this Queen of Wands right here, and I mean, I'm just feeling such, like, passionate energy. Like, yeah, I'm seeing, like, all this fire and roses, and I'm pretty sure that's death in reverse. I don't know, but this is kind of giving me a headache. Yeah, we've got, like, the Ace of Cups here in reverse. Yeah, there's a lot of just heartache in regards to this situation, this missing and loathing, and void filling. You know, I feel like you're trying to protect yourself from hurting from the loss of this person. I feel like this missing you feeling like the situation is just so complicated and it hurts, and there was so much that was left unsaid that I think that you need to find your own resolutions in order to move forward until Spirit can guide you towards more information. Like the full truth has not been revealed. And I feel like you won't get the full truth, but you're going to get at least enough for you to what you deserve. And it's going to vary from person to person. However, the energy is still the same, and that you deserve enough truth to get you through this situation. And that truth is that you don't have to have this person to support yourself. And you hate hearing that because you feel like that's devaluing the relationship that you have, and that's not true at all. This is just a reminder from Spirit that you can have your pain and eat it too. I don't know. That's a play on the cake phrase, but the thing is like you can have your pain and love them too. You know, like Spirit's not sitting here trying to shame you for the love you had. They're not trying to shame you or tell you to not feel hurt by this situation. What they're saying though is that the energy you're putting towards this person isn't going to help you, and God wants to guide you in a way to teach you to take care of yourself, so that way you don't have to rely on this person, and so that way you can keep continuing to move forward in the journey that they want you to move towards and the way you want to move towards, because ultimately you subconsciously are asking God to guide you this way, and whether you like to admit it or not, you know. And sometimes it takes these very powerful relationships to teach you that it's okay to move on and to focus on myself, and that it isn't your fault, you know, that a situation doesn't work out. Sometimes it doesn't work out, and that love is worthy of you, you know? But sometimes it does, too, you know? Like, again, I'm feeling a very, like, back and forth energy with this group, because it's really coming down to people's choices, and I feel like the choices between both you and your other person, I mean, your other person, they're pretty committed. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why, but I feel like this person's fairly more solid in their opinion of what they feel about you than you are of them, and it's a matter of you making a choice and a decision of what you want to do, you know. And there's no right or wrong answer here. It's just a matter of what do you want to do. But that person's always going to be, well, they're not always going to be there, but they're always going to feel very strongly towards you. That much I can tell you. Like, they're not, like, they're going to die with you. They're going to be on their deathbed thinking about you, regardless of if they're married to someone else or not. So, or maybe they're not married to someone else. Who knows? Maybe this person will never get married. I don't know. But I don't know, there's some really strong feelings between these two, and that's why I'm saying don't take these feelings lightly. Like, don't, just because other people tell you that maybe it's not real or maybe it's not worth your time because you didn't blah, blah, blah. This is the sort of connection that goes beyond logic, and this is very strong, and it's something you deserve to respect. And your spirit guides want you to respect it too, because it's it's a lot more serious than I think maybe you sometimes take it. And that their feelings are very real, regardless of if they tell you or not. And you should respect that as much for yourself as for them, you know. And it has to do with your own insecurities too, and their insecurities, but I could go into that forever. But anyways, though, guys, that's your reading. Is there something else I was supposed to say? Yeah. What else am I supposed to say, Spirit? I don't know. I feel like I'm supposed to do an additional reading for you guys, because I feel like you guys feel really unresolved. Alright, so what do we want to do, Spirit? Do we want to do messages from Spirit or messages from your person? Alright, messages from your person. Alright, so you guys are going to get a little additional information, because I feel like... No. Alright, so we're going to end this reading with this stuff. Alright, so the cards you got were Rest and Rejuvenate in reverse. You've got Passion Ignited upright, and then you've got Harmony, which interesting. So this deck is based off of Tarot technically, but it's got its own thing. I don't know what Rest and Rejuvenation, but the number one is, wait, no, because that's a different thing. I don't know. Basically, I just know that this is the Lovers. But I mean, like, when you look at these cards, I mean, shit. If this doesn't make you aware of how much this person cares about you, I mean, I could almost have tears come to my eyes. But, I mean, Passion Reignited, I mean, like, look at these two cards alone. If that doesn't make you realize how much this person like loves the hell out of you, I mean, I don't know what else to say. You know what I mean? Like, look at these two people here. I mean, literally, that's how they look at you. This is how they dream about you, and this is how they think about you all the time. And this passion, I feel like you helped restart their life, you know? You helped restart their passion for life, and they are very passionate for you and very just thankful that you exist, you know? I don't know, it's very humbling energy, because I feel like a lot of times when I'm watching tarot card readings, there's a lot of just kind of other energies in there that are really kind of false, I guess, or it's more lusting, it's more emotional based, versus this is so deep, and literally it'd be like, this is like the kind of person that even if you never had sex with them, you could say that they're your spouse, you know, for the rest of your life. Like, literally, it's like you could just look at them and say, that's my person right there, and never have a relationship with them, but you know, on such a deep level. And this is kind of a rare feeling, but I don't know, it just feels so deep. And then this rest and rejuvenate, like, I feel like you're resisting resting and rejuvenating. I feel like because this person's not in your life and you really desperately want to feel this energy in this person in your life, you're resisting kind of going down and revitalizing yourself, and this person wants you to know how much they love and care about you, and because of that, they want you to rest from the situation and to not worry about them, to not keep asking about them, not to keep watching tarot card readings about them, to just focus on loving and resting yourself, because you're exhausted, honey, and you need to make sure that you are finding your own passion, your own source of life, that regardless of if this person is going to be in your life in the future or not, they will always be by your side. I mean, look at these hands. Like, specifically I'm focused on the hands. You know, like, that is not going to change. Okay, so one thing I also wanted to add to is, like, they want you to be able to stand on your own and see your own greatness and what they see in you. I mean, when you're looking at this card, you got passion ignited, and again, there's the number 1 above this person. This woman is by herself, and she's completely self-sustaining. I mean, look at that ring around her. She's completely self-contained, and that's all her. You know, she has that passion. She has that fire inside of her. And this isn't so much saying that they want you to be alone and that you need to focus. It's not meant to shame. It's meant to be loving and saying, look at how amazing you are, honey. Like, look at all the beautiful things that I see in you, and I want you to see that for yourself, because you absolutely deserve to see yourself as how amazing I view you. You know, and I feel like for some of you, this person thinks about you every single day and thinks about how beautiful, wonderful, amazing, and how much better and different they view their life because of you, and there's no words to describe how much they care about you. And that's why they want you to imagine what that would feel like if you knew exactly how they viewed you. And maybe they're putting you up on this pedestal, but it doesn't matter, because you deserve to be put up on a pedestal for a little bit, just from the standpoint that I feel like you've been through a lot, and you deserve to look and feel exactly like this person in this image right here. Whether it be from this person coming into your life, someone else, you deserve it all the way, honey. Anyways, though, that's your messages from your person, and, you know, I'm sending you guys so much love. I'm very thankful for you guys being able to share your energy with me. If you are interested in purchasing a reading, you can check out the link in the description down below. I have a Fiverr account, which is the only place that you can purchase a reading from me. You can also donate money, which is free of, you know, basically you don't get anything in return. You're just donating money to me as a tip. You can do that down below. And please like and subscribe and comment down below if you thought that this reading resonated with you and brought you healing. This was definitely one of my favorite readings so far, and I'm very thankful that I got to share this with you. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Love you very much, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye.